Connection Days. This was formerly called Corporate Demo Days, and the name was changed to better describe the experience we want everyone to have. Interactive, connecting, partnering, and more. And since not all of our corporate members have a traditional product or service to demonstrate, we're opening the doors wider for creative and informal sessions. Our members can take part in these by the live experience, asking questions and hearing things as they're happening. We've split the demonstrations over 2 days, and now we have the second session of our first day, which is Intern Housing Hub. Joining us, Mark Williams and Corey Salem from Intern Housing Hub for their presentation titled More Interns, Less Headaches, the Affordable Tech Solution for Intern Housing. When asked for an interesting tidbit about the company, culture, or service, we found out that Intern Housing Hub is in its 7th summer, connecting interns and collegiate housing properties. I can't wait to hear more. Welcome, Mark and Corey. Please tell us a little bit about yourselves before you jump into your presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Amy. Excited to be here. I think this is our third participation in the Partner Connection Day, and it's always really great to participate. So thank you. Yeah, I'm Corey Salem. I'm the Director of Sales and Client Services with Unique Venues and Intern Housing Hub, and spent a couple years in my profession working in another higher ed association, NACIS, for auxiliary services professionals, and came back on this side of business in January 2020, and have really been one of two folks on our team working daily with the Intern Housing Hub product. So I've seen it grow from its infancy to where it is today, and I'm really excited to share more about who we are as we head into summer 2026 and the different ways that we can help the colleges and universities that are opening their doors to these intern guests. Mark?
Thanks, Corey. This is Mark Williams. I'm the Director of Operations at Registration Guru Software and Event Guru Software. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Like Corey, I've been involved in collegiate conference and housing for almost 20 years. I've been involved with ACED-I for pretty much that entire time frame, both as an institutional member when I worked at one of the universities in the U.S., and then as a corporate member after that. So we're excited at the opportunity to talk with everybody today about intern housing and answer questions that you might have when we get towards the end.
Cool. I'm going to share my screen and dive right in. As Amy mentioned, our presentation today is titled More Interns, Less Headaches, the Affordable Tech Solution for Intern Housing. And the basis really for this presentation today is kind of capturing that top point where you all face, as collegiate conference and intern housing operators, a unique challenge in that you have to manage a high volume of short-term residents while ensuring a seamless experience. And what we hope is that the services presented here today are two different ways that we can help you achieve both, getting more interns in an easy, manageable way, and finding the right way to manage the influx of interest that you are receiving and the intern experience really once they do apply and register housing at your institution. What we're going to do today is a little bit of a split presentation where I'll be taking the first couple of minutes and talking about the intern housing industry and intern housing hub as a solution for that, and then passing it along to Mark, who will be demonstrating for the very first time, really, the intern housing registration management system, which is a new product that's been launched by Registration Guru Software that we're really excited to be officially rolling out to the industry. We do have a special offer that we'll share at the end. And as Mark mentioned, if there's any questions either throughout or at the end of the presentation today, please don't hesitate to either send it through chat or speak up. We're more than happy to provide any additional information that you might be seeking throughout the presentation today. So when speaking about this industry, I found some really compelling statistics that just really drive home the point of the opportunity that exists out there for colleges and universities to open their doors really in the summer months to these students who are needing a place to stay as they fulfill perhaps an academic obligation or relocate for a work experience that's aligning with their academic focus. 300,000 plus people reportedly intern each summer, and 32% of those people are relocating for their experience. So, with these two statistics here, my math isn't the best, but over 100,000 folks each year relocating for their summer internship. Now, some might be relocating to the next town over, but in some cases, interns are relocating across the country or across state borders and needing a place to stay. Intern Housing Hub was launched in officially January of 2020 as a directory listing site for colleges and universities specifically that um, can provide affordable, capable housing options to this relocating group. And we really aligned ourselves with colleges, universities because we do see you as great partners. And with the several decades we have working with colleges, universities on the unique venue side, just know that it's an easy pipeline to connect these relocating groups with the housing, the amenities, and in some cases, the dining services that your campuses can offer. According to NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, the average length of an internship is 8 to 12 weeks. And I think that what I'm better understanding is that when an intern maybe has a longer experience that doesn't necessarily meet the dates that you as an institution might have available, they're being able to do more and more of a hybrid experience for that first or last week where they can't necessarily still stay on campus but still need to fulfill their work experience. So I think that that's one thing that's changed as I've seen it over the last 5 or 6 years, and how these intern experiences are taking place. A lot of these employers are sharing that offering this kind of relocation assistance and offering an in-person experience in particular is a really high value opportunity for them because it allows them to attract and hire maybe the best talent in that industry or within the network of campuses that they're hiring within, and it gives them the best opportunity to really kind of see this intern in action before they offer maybe a full-time position following the conclusion of the internship, which is, I think, one of the added ways that a college and university can provide that value to the organizations, companies within your area by partnering and providing that really rich living experience that's going to help that company and organization provide the best in-person internship available. And for some, or in 2024, the median relocation stipend was $2,700. And as I read it and as it was reported, that was a lump sum that came up front. So I know that there's a lot of colleges, universities we already work with that handle the intern booking and payment throughout the entire cycle in different ways. But a lot of these interns that are getting this relocation stipend or assistance, it's not uncommon for them to have the money up front, which would make maybe the booking and management process a little bit easier on your end. We did see a slight dip overall in 2025 for intern hiring. That was really, I think, the plan coming into the calendar year. And then there were some shifts that happened by industries or through government decisions and administrative decisions that kind of lessened the number of interns that were being hired in specific areas. But I think across the board, there were some industries that were more affected than others. Some, though, that were pretty much proof of financial concerns or regulatory concerns included engineering interns, financial interns, and in some markets, health-related interns, healthcare-related interns as well. The data isn't out yet for summer 2026, but from what I'm gathering, I'm expecting that things to kind of bounce back in the opposite direction and for it to be another strong hiring year, which means another strong relocation year, an opportunity for the college and universities to host these individuals for their summer stays. These are some statistics on who uses Intern Housing Hub. Unsurprisingly, the majority of site users are falling under that 34 years of age market. And for us, we're working with all institutions that do require their guests to be 18 years or older. just from a liability perspective of hosting these interns and having that individual liability, that's something that we see across the board. But for these other age groups, we're welcoming a wide variety of folks, and I see it a lot with messages that come through the site, whether it's an individual, we get a lot of parents using the site, we get a lot of hiring professionals using the site, and all kind of with the same goal of just learning more about internship as a whole, colleges, universities as an option, and then later on through the cycle, which I'll show you in just a moment, um, people using the site to actively book for their summer stay. Um, the user identified gender split really does kind of mirror the statistics out there for who is interning on an annual basis. It's kind of this 60-40 split. And then this year, we've had a much higher percentage of individuals using the site instead of groups. Historically, this group number has been anywhere between 7 to 10%, so 5% is definitely lower. But in a lot of ways, I think that's a good thing as kind of the impact of our service is that we're bringing a lot of individuals into your pipeline on an annual basis. The types of people that you can't really account for in a renewable capacity each year, we're able to, through our site positioning, our marketing efforts help bring in that pipeline of new individual guests on an annual basis for you. And talking about the cycle, this is kind of what it looks like. So this bluish chart here is statistics that we've gathered from Google Analytics that shows daily site traffic. And I really break it down into four periods. The first period, where it's right around the corner, is October 1st, when we define the start of a new season. Very slow at first, as you can see, kind of comparable to the rest of the year. But this is when some of the most competitive internships are being interviewed for and placed on an annual basis. So that really does, again, kind of kick off that search and booking season. But we first start to see the major uptick around Thanksgiving in the US, the end of November, and then again a few weeks later during the December holiday break and period, where these holidays kind of allow for these guests to start talking with their friends or families back home about their plans for the summer and starting to do that research for, well, if I do get this internship, where will I stay? And starting to put together the logistical pieces. That's when we really start to kick off our additional marketing through advertisements on the web for our clients. In the start of the new year, any new year, we see another uptick in activity really around that Martin Luther King Day period, the middle of January. But it really becomes sustained in February and then weekly, almost kind of going up a mountain, if you will, or through these steps until the last week of March, first week of April, when it really plateaus. But at step three here, we get a lot of people coming to our website, gathering information, doing research, looking at their different options. And then again, during this period, number four is when we get a lot of that activity of people actually reaching out with inquiries or clicking on links to apply for the housing. And then after June 1st, that's when you're all hosting folks. No one's looking for housing really after that period. And that's when our team kind of reconvenes, analyzes how the previous year performed, and puts together plans to improve the site for the year ahead. How we work for you is we help to expand your reach and bring in more qualified leads and opportunities for you. And we do that through a number of ways. Our primary traffic source is organic. So doing a Google search or searching on Bing, any search engine, asking for intern housing in a specific area. If we're working with clients there, we're typically a top three result. And in a lot of cases, we're the top result. So that definitely drives a lot of the traffic and engagement to our site. Second, to that is our paid ad approach. We do a lot of search engine ad campaigns, and we're also doing more ad campaigns through Reddit that we're seeing more and more as a recommendations-based platform. Direct traffic would be if I like texted the link to a friend or emailed the link to a friend or someone just typing in internhousinghub.com. So 1 in 5 folks coming to our site are either already familiar with our brand or are being referred to it directly from someone they trust. Whereas the referrals as 8% is if our website lives on another website and someone clicks it. So 8%, oops, going back to that, accounts for things like Intern Queen, where we partner with industry experts to kind of promote our site, or even these AI chatbots are starting to appear as referral chat traffic. And then lastly, social media. We have some folks that are clients of ours that are posting their profiles on Instagram and promoting it that way. We have our own social media channels that's bringing in about 3% of our annual traffic. One thing that we're doing more of is reaching out directly to campus career centers to get Intern Housing Hub listed as a resource on their pages for interns, and doing direct emailing campaigns and marketing to some of the larger employers throughout the country to elevate Intern Housing Hub as a resource for their HR teams or their hiring teams. And it's really been a growing resource. Again, summer 2020, sorry, this should say 2025 right here. But summer 2025 was one of our busiest years. 2024 was the busiest year. Some of the changes that happened in the DC market, we were unable to kind of make up that traffic this year. But again, I think in 2026 we can really overcome that. But we're officially working with the most clients. We'll have the most site visits this year. And at the end of the year, these applications and engagement links are going to be pretty similar to the numbers that we did in calendar year 2024. So we're really excited with not only how the site has grown the last couple of years, but how the site has maintained that growth and been able to provide the right value to the clients that we're working with. Again, connecting you as the collegiate property with these interns or parents or whoever is managing that booking process. And I really think that that's captured in our 94% retention rate that we've averaged the last 3 years. We have a very satisfied client list. Some of those clients that are canceling, it is due to ROI. Like there's just some situations where it's just not working out. But I think in most cases, it's people who are maybe no longer offering intern housing. Maybe their residence halls are going to be renovated, so they have to take it offline, or the department just, this isn't something that that department's focusing on anymore. So we feel very good about the partnerships and relationships that we currently have within the industry and look to build upon that over the coming years. And as I mentioned, each year we like to do a debrief and see how the site performed and what we need to do that's new. And we have a couple of things that are new on the horizon. One thing that we've done or are continuing to work on for summer 2026 are just slight profile updates, a couple things here and there to not only improve the experience for the interns on our site, but to also allow our clients to more neatly present their information to the folks that are visiting the site. And we're also continuing to adapt our online ad approach, whether it's through Google or Bing or Reddit, always staying on top of the the newest ways that companies are advertising on these platforms and finding success and making those changes for ourselves. As I mentioned, doing some more direct marketing of the platform on behalf of our clients to campus recruiters and campus career centers. That's one thing that I encourage all of you to be doing regardless. I've learned that these campus career centers are much more likely to be listing a .edu than a .com. So if you do have a web page dedicated to intern housing yourself, reach out to some of these different companies, or excuse me, different campuses to see if they'd be willing to list your website there. Two of the most popular career center landing pages that I have seen belong to Cal Berkeley and Baylor. So those are two areas or two campuses maybe for you to reach out to right now to see if they'd be willing to list your .edu landing page for the summer ahead. And lastly, and most excitingly, we're officially able to talk about our newest partnership with Registration Guru Software and the development and launch of the intern housing registration management system. This has been a long time coming, and it's a great new feature. You know, Intern Housing Hub right now works as a lead generator, a connection point between you and those interns. But with the addition of Intern Housing Registration Management System, we can now also say that if you have this, if you purchase this add-on, it can be a booking platform for you. We've worked hard with a couple of beta clients. We've talked to a lot of experts in the industry, and where I think we've landed at is a really great customizable, affordable booking solution for colleges and universities that really kind of put a lot of the control in your hands when it comes to the booking process, managing communications, and really just generally knowing who has an interest, whether or not they fill out the form too, which is a really great added tool. So with that, I'm going to pause my presentation and I'm going to stop sharing and allow Mark to jump in and share a little bit more about the management system. Mark?
Thanks, Corey. Let me go ahead and share my screen so that everybody can see the where we're going to start. And that really, as Corey has mentioned, is kind of with your profile on the Intern Housing Hub site. So when you do sign up for this service, you'll go through a kind of an onboarding with the team at IHH, and they'll kind of go through and work with you to set up your profile. So this is kind of what that looks like, just to give you an idea. And this is essentially what the interns are going to see when they're out there looking for options. Obviously, providing some restrictions that are set within your campus. Those obviously vary from one school to the next, making sure they kind of know what they're getting into. And during the process of kind of interviewing and working with specific customers on what they're looking for, one of the things that they were challenged with is when the intern does reach out and wants to reserve housing, how they handle that. And really, the challenging part was a lot of emails that were going back and forth, things that were essentially falling through the cracks, which unfortunately makes a very poor experience for the intern. And you really want to kind of put your best foot forward when you're starting this relationship with the intern. And so ultimately, that's where we fit into the picture in our platform. It takes all of that information. Corey talked about the rates, the different restrictions that are set per campus, and allow you to seamlessly collect all of that information through our housing registration platform, so that you can be confident that they're having a good experience and that you're making sure to collect all the primary information that you need to, without having to spend a lot of time on the phone or other staff members in working with these interns. Because a lot of times, let's be fair, there are a lot of them are kind of window shopping to get an idea. Ultimately, what we want to do is convert that intern as quickly as possible, and our solution will do that for you. So they'll reach out to you. Let's essentially, they'd be like an apply now button that's set on the profile. Once they click that, they get routed to what would be your branded registration site. So this would be essentially represent your campus, the information that's associated with the intern program, and it would give the intern the ability to go through and submit their information. So in doing that, they're going to provide you with some basic information to kind of get started, their name, their email address, and phone number. And once they provide that, the system will open up what is your tailored site with all of your housing options that are available. A couple things that you'll notice, you'll be able to set your different housing options, upload images. You'll be able to collect information based on a check-in and check-out. And then you'll notice over here to the right-hand side, essentially this is just a shopping cart. And again, this is giving the intern that confidence to say, we're in the right spot. We're making it convenient. When Corey talked about the demographics, majority of the people that are doing this are younger. So they skew younger. They're expecting this. They're not expecting them to have to call you and you call them back and, go through that whole back and forth. This is going to set you up for success, minimize what I call window shoppers that are going through. It will also be controlled because things like capacities will be set. So for example, if you're sold out of a certain type of room, the system will notify the intern so that you don't have to worry about overbooking or booking certain resources that are no longer available. The other thing that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to include add-ons. So one of the things that interns might be doing are, driving into the campus. So you may need to include a parking pass, right? So you can add unlimited items, meal plans, other things that are like linen packages that you offer to kind of make their experience on your campus better. The other thing that you'll notice is below that, you'll also be able to collect additional information. So the first name, last name, and email is just kind of to get things started. Now we're going to want to get a bit more detail from that intern, their address, information about who they are, what their likes are. So these are free text fields. They're drop-down fields that you'll be able to create as part of this experience. You'll be able to upload documentation. A lot of the schools that we've talked to when we did focus groups, where we need to have proof that they're actually an intern and they're going to be actually working at a company. We don't want any sort of just visitors. So one of the things that was important is to be able to upload a document. And so that's what we're allowing you to do, is to capture that along with everything else. So the other thing is, like, when it comes to, agreeing to terms and conditions, obviously there's potentially a housing agreement that they have to review. You can kind of check that off the list as they go through this process to be able to do that as well. A couple of the other features that this system offers, including things like, making information required. So as they go through and fill this information out, they'll be kind of going through and saying, this is who I am, and this is kind of what we are dealing with. Here's kind of the attachments that we want. Not every intern, like Corey had mentioned, they might get a stipend for some of it. So they may not be able to pay everything up front. So our system allows you to do partial payments. So they can essentially come in and say, based on your terms, maybe they are, required to pay a partial amount. And that gives you the ability to do that. The other really great feature is the ability to manage things like promo or discount codes. So depending on who they are or their affiliation, maybe with a company that might be paying for the intern to participate, you can provide a custom discount code that the intern can type in, and then it will adjust accordingly based on whatever that code is, right? So that gives you the ability to apply that if there is one that's applicable. The other thing to note as well is different payment methods. So we work with a variety of different what are called gateway credit card providers that are known to work with higher ed. So companies like TouchNet, Authorize.net, Transact Campus, Bluefin. Now, you may not be familiar with who that gateway is, but I'm pretty sure that whoever you talk to at finance is going to be like, yep, we know Authorize.net. You're good to go. The benefit of that is that you're actually connecting the school's gateway to this system. So when they make the payment, that payment's going directly to the institution. So you don't ever have to worry about when do we collect the funds or how does that all work, because it's all done seamlessly and securely through the application. The other really great feature that's an option that you can turn on and off, like a lot of what we're looking at, is being able to add an additional attendee. So if there is a group, and let's say you've got more than one person that's coming for the internship and you want to handle all of them at once, you can go through and add additional interns through this part of the application that can be turned on. If the institution doesn't want to offer that, by all means, you can actually turn that off, and you don't have to necessarily worry about managing a group. Now, once this is done, you've collected all the information, and they go through to make the credit card payment. Again, this will connect to what is your existing credit card provider. In this case, Fiserv or Clover Connect. They'll enter in their credit card information and then hit Pay Now. And what that triggers is a few things. One, the payment is directly deposited to the institution. Number two, the intern is receiving communication from the registration intern housing system, letting them know that the registration was successful. So one of the things that you'll notice is within the account, you'll be able to set that communication up. Communication is probably by far one of the most challenging, biggest headaches, if you want to call it that, when it comes to interns, because that ultimately you're busy doing other things, and to have to get back to interns to say, hey, yeah, we've got your confirmation. You'll hear from us, in a month or two. This system will do that for you. So it's really about automating the process to as far as we can take it, which means it's less time that you have to spend. This particular communication allows the intern to go back. So why would they want to go back to their account if they've made a partial payment? That would give them the opportunity to go back and make another payment in a month, and another payment a month from that point, and so on. So you'll be able to include things like logos, links to other pages, maybe that promote other things that are going on in the community or in your town or the city that's nearby. You really want to make the internship attractive, because yes, they're going there to work, but they're also going there to play. So, in any way that you can make it more interesting, this is a great opportunity to do that. And this really connects with that intern to, make them feel like, hey, these guys know me. They know kind of, what my interests are. And it gives them the ability to take advantage of that. Now, all of the information that gets submitted through the form, the payment method that we've seen, where does all of that go? Right. So the other piece of this, right, this is kind of the front end access to the system. There is an admin area of the application where your team will go to see everything that's going on when it comes to your interns. And so this is just an example of what that looks like. You'll have essentially what we're calling an attendee dashboard, where you can very clearly see who has gone through the process, how far they've made it, right? So have they made a payment? Have they attempted to make a payment? Have they submitted a discount code? Have they logged in and then backed out? So that's what these different statuses are that you can see on this dashboard. And visually, they're represented as well in different coloring. So, for example, I can see, Evan, Kelly, Bobby, and Taylor, they got to the point where they were interested enough to give you their name, but they weren't interested enough to actually complete the process of filling out the form and making a payment. So the great news about that is that you can reach back out to them and say, hey, we noticed that you expressed some interest in it. It's about capturing, for a lack of a better term, low-hanging fruit that are interacting with you, that you can kind of get back to them at any point in time. This also kind of allows you to start to see where you're at as far as capacity is concerned. So you can see, for example, what rooms are at 100%, and you can filter to see who is associated with that particular room type. Why that's useful or helpful, let's say that you needed to send out a message to certain interns that are in your single room type, right? You could go through and say, okay, I'm based on, that listing. Here is everybody that has filled out the form that are singles. I'm going to go send a message out to those folks from this system, choosing either a template email or a custom email. A kind of a know before you go is another example of communication that you might send out from the system. This is going to keep everything on track. It's going to allow you to analyze in live time what's going on, so you can make adjustments. And potentially, if you're starting to sell out, this is an example of a scenario of where things are better than expected. You can at least open things up and increase your capacity, right? If you have the luxury of doing that, to accept more interns. As Corey had showed in that one slide where kind of it goes and peaks as you get to, February or March as people are going in. As you start to see that, you might have the ability to say, okay, we have a few more rooms that we might want to open up to the interns. We're getting such a demand. This will give us the ability to generate more revenue from that particular customer type that we have that's coming to the campus. The other thing is that the information that they're providing, you can see, for example, let's say that they've attached their what would have been a document, right? So now you can open up their documents. For example, let's say it was the proof of internship. They can open that up and you can see that they've provided you with that. You can make them required. So if they get to that point, they really can't move on unless they've submitted that documentation. This is going to sort of keep everything organized for you in one location and make sure that you're maximizing the relationship that you're building with your interns that you're working with. The other features of this application I think will be super helpful and beneficial is the reporting aspect, right? So one of the things that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to run reports, and in this case, actually saved a report that you can run within the system to see all of the interns that have money that's due to the school, right? It's again, because you are managing that step in the process, if you are allowing them to make a payment, it would be super helpful to see who owes money, what they owe, and then get a kind of a running tally of what that looks like. So the other thing that you have the ability to do is, as a table, this is obviously helpful, but if you needed to get a better sense, of what that looks like, you can run the report and provide more of a graphical view of what's going on, in this case, who the intern is and how much they owe, so that you can run with this and share this with your staff to follow up with anybody that you need to connect with that is, in this case, kind of outstanding as far as the payments are concerned. But as far as the communication is, we brought that up. You'll be able to set your messaging, whether it's a confirmation message, whether it's a receipt that they're asking for. Companies may be asking you for that. If there's a stipend that's involved, you can set this up with smart merge fields so that it automatically populates the information that's associated with that account, saving you the time and energy to put that together. And each year, the great thing about it is that, just like Corey was showing, is that you'll be able to kind of see what's going on from one year to the next. So when you set this up, you'll be able to compare this year to the next year to the year after that and start to see some of the trends that are happening. If your interns are growing in number one year to the next, maybe you need to proactively start to have that conversation earlier in the year about expanding your room block for 2026. Right now, you might be unsure of that because you really don't have a really great way of analyzing that information. That will change when you have a system like this, because it will allow you to go through and have the analytics to make those strategic business decisions that up to this point have been kind of guesses. And we want to eliminate that for you and provide you with valuable data that you can actually run reports and make, really solid business decisions about what you're doing, whether it's this year or next year or the year after that. All right. So that's kind of going through the process. And I thought that now that we've got a few minutes here, I think, before we wrap things up, I thought we would open it up for anybody that's on the call that had questions. You have Corey and myself here. We'd love to address any concerns or just in general things that you're thinking about here in the last couple minutes that we have. Feel free to send a chat or open up. I think, Corey, if one of the things that we tend to get questions about are pushback from the institutions about is having an intern housing program, does it meet the educational kind of goal of that institution? And so, it's about providing a case that, yes, this is really kind of a good fit for the institution. We talk about risk and, UBIT and things of that nature. So I don't know if anybody's run into that, but sometimes that comes up in conversation with folks that are looking to offer this type of program.
Yeah, and I like to just, center your operation back on the support that you're providing to a student from another campus in a lot of cases. These folks that you're hosting are, again, um, participating in an internship as an academic requirement, and your ability to offer a place to stay for that, I think, does meet the academic mission that your institution and the host or the institution of the student likely is requiring. So I think that each campus definitely has their own appetite for risk, though. And if you're one that you feel like there's a bigger consideration put onto some of these things, you can always reach out. And if it's not a question that Mark or I can answer, there's some different folks on our team or different professionals that we're partnered with in the industry that have made themselves available to kind of address those questions and conversations from their own perspective as well.
Other thing that tends to come up, Corey, that we hear is like, how long would it take to implement a system like this? I think you would be surprised by the quickness of being able to spin this up for a couple reasons. One, it's a relatively easy system to turn on. There's not a whole lot of setup when it comes to utilizing this application. In fact, the profiles that you're seeing on the Intern Housing Hub, like the images, so a lot of those can be used and copied into our application. So that part of it can make it very seamless and save you a lot of time. And then, just in general, as far as training is concerned, we usually spend about 3 hours with our new customers to get the system set up and just kind of run through a few scenarios. We do have a sandbox that we will provide to our customers as well, so that they can use that for testing purposes. So there's a lot of benefit and a lot of options that are available when you're utilizing our service. And if you're looking to implement something, by the end of October, that is definitely a manageable goal to set for your particular institution, and something that we would be happy to talk to you more about.
Yeah, and now's a really great time. As I say it on September 23rd, 2025. Who knows when you might be watching this, but this time of the year is a really great time to prepare for, again, that next summer. Your intern housing hub profile, we can get that up within half a day with all of the information that's available to you that you could share or upload yourself, in preparation of meeting that first wave of demand that we're expecting over the next few weeks, in October, November, and December 2025. So we're really thrilled with, again, the impact that the platform has had on the industry. And beyond that, of course, we care most about the ROI for our clients. And we know that we hear that all the time from our clients. But we also are really just happy with this, how this service provides support to this industry and to these students. Because besides Intern Housing Hub, there's really nothing else out there that's a centralized platform or directory for these individuals to find what they're looking for. And with the safety and the amenities included on a college campus, we're firm believers that the campus housing that you all can present and provide are going to be the best options available. I do quickly just want to share that there's a 25% discount for new clients that are listing on Intern Housing Hub. And paying between now and October 31st. So it makes an ROI conversation a whole lot easier, I think, whenever that 25% discount is provided. And that's something that I'd be very happy to work with you directly on. Mine and Mark's contact information is available here, so feel free to reach out to either of us if you're interested in taking advantage of that. And I do just have one more question here from Nathan that asks, what are some tactics and advice you give for sharing this product with career services colleagues and individual departments hosting career fairs this fall? Sharing this resource with your campus student population seems like a great value. Yes, one thing that we're trying to do, we have a lot of corporate partnerships on the intern housing side, or excuse me, the unique venue side, where we're working with some national brands to remind them that Intern Housing Hub could be a resource for them and their companies as they're hiring interns. Um, we've started to print out materials that we're sending out to different career centers to put up on their cork boards or around their office that will just kind of introduce folks to Intern Housing Hub, a QR code to get to the site. Um, and that's something, Nathan, that, as we continue to diversify our marketing approaches, taking some time over the next few months to really identify where are these pipelines and how can we start accessing different ways to get in front of these interns and share this resource. We have another question. Could you go back over the part of registration regarding the payment options and payment plan options, Mark?
Sure. So as far as the payment um, options are concerned, we work with what would be the existing payment gateway companies that are already having relationship or partnership with your institution. So some of those I mentioned, like Authorize.net, Transact Campus, Bluefin, Fiserv, any of those particular gateways that are available, we can connect to those and ultimately provides a seamless connection and payment experience for your interns. And then as far as payment plan options, if you mean by that you mean like partial payments for the intern, that can be set up by the school and conveyed through what would be just general instructions to the intern about what your payment options are, what your terms are, and just in general communication that you provide when it comes to your specific institution, which it does vary from one school to the next. Hopefully that answers your question.
There's no other questions. Thank you, Corey and Mark. That was great information. We appreciate you sharing your tips, tricks, and all your services with us, and appreciate you being here on Partner Connection Days. If anybody needs to contact him, please feel free to reach out directly. And if you have any questions about how to get in touch with them, please let me know and I can connect you as well. Our next session is with Kinetic, and that starts at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Hope to see you there. Thank you, Mark and Corey.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
You too.